What's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about if the Houston Texans should trade defensive end Jerry Hughes. It's been a while since I've made a Houston Texans video. I think it's been almost a week. I haven't made a Texans video since DeAndre Hopkins said that he could be interested in a potential reunion with the Houston Texans. That was 6 days ago. But stuff has been quiet for the Houston Texans in the last since D Hop, said that, not a lot has been happening besides, practices and mini camps and talks about, or not mini camp, I guess mini camps and OTAs, talks about the rookies. Not as much as, nothing's been really happening. But a couple days ago, there was an article on Bleacher Report it was an article that said one player every 32 NFL teams should be thinking about potentially trading before week 1 of the 2023 NFL season. And the player that was listed for the Houston Texans who they thought the Houston Texans should potentially move in a potential trade before week 1, the player they listed was defensive end Jerry Hughes. I got to admit, I've thought about maybe the Texans potentially trading Jerry Hughes myself, but at the same time, I think it'd be good to keep him on this roster. Even though we don't know if he'll be a starter, with Will Anderson expected to be in the defense, I think he'll be competing for a starter for sure, because Will Anderson's obviously going to be starting for us. But at the same time, I think even though John Grenard has proven he's very good, I really do think with how good Jerry Hughes was last season, there's going to be, in my opinion, I think there will be a competition between Jerry Hughes and John Grenard. Both players are very excellent, and I know Jerry Hughes is 34 years old, and is also going to turn 35 before the season starts. He turns 35 on August 13th. But he had a really, really good season with us last year. Had 35 tackles with 9 sacks. Also had 10 tackles for loss with 2 forced fumbles, 1 pass deflected, and 1 interception that he returned that interception for 14 yards. So he was very, very good for us last season. So why I don't think we should trade him is because, number one, I think he is a good mentor to the young guys. He's almost 35 years old. Is a good mentor to the younger guys at that defensive end position, like Will Anderson Jr. and John Grenard. We have a couple other young defensive ends. We drafted one, I can't remember. Oh, no, that's a defensive tackle. I was thinking about the guy from TCU. But we have some other younger defensive ends on that roster. And there are some other vets on that defensive end, depth chart, but he's the best guy, at the defensive end position for for a veteran guy. And I think he's a good mentor, he's a good leader, and not only that, but he's a hell of a player to have playing for you as a starter, as a second starter next to Will Anderson, or as a bench player. And I don't think the Texans are going to be able to get much for him. I think you're probably going to be able to get in the area of a 5th to 7th rounder, possibly. His contract isn't that heavy. It's not that bad, but he is a free agent at the end of this season, and plus that, he is going to be turning 35 before week 1. So I don't think he's going to be worth that much. Maybe, possibly, Jerry Hughes, whoever goes and trades for Jerry Hughes, maybe possibly, we send Jerry Hughes in a 6th round pick for a 5th round pick. I don't know. I'm just thinking a pick swap for Jerry Hughes. I don't really know who would be interested in Jerry Hughes, but I do know the Kansas City Chiefs did have some interest in Jerry Hughes back at the trade deadline, which nothing ended up happening. But honestly, for all that, I mean, the Texans are the most they're going to get offered is a 6th or a 7th round pick. In that case, I think we should just keep him. He's a really good player. Look at what he brought for you last year. 9 sacks, 35 tackles, 1 interception, two forced fumbles, 10 tackles for loss. He was a hell of a defensive lineman for us last season. I don't think it's worth all that. I mean, he could have another really good, solid season like that. Maybe not as good as this year, because there are better guys that are going to be on this roster now. Because think about this. You now on this roster have added Will Anderson. John Grenard wasn't healthy the whole year next year. Hopefully, if John Grenard's healthy and Will Anderson Jr. is on this roster, Jerry Hughes is going to be getting as much as opportunities as he got last season, but I still think he can maybe do half of what he did last season, if not a little bit more. So in that case, not only him being a really solid player for the defense, him being a good mentor to some of these younger guys on the defensive line, I don't think there's any way the Texans should trade him. I say you keep Jerry Hughes for the 2023 season, but you guys have your thoughts on a potential trade. Do you think the Texans should trade Jerry Hughes? I thought it was, I didn't really, when I saw Jerry Hughes' name, I understood it because I thought it myself, but I don't think there's any way the Texans trade Jerry Hughes this offseason. But you guys ever thought, or not this offseason, I guess it would be probably around near training camp if we traded him, if not in preseason. So you guys have your thoughts, and that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Texans.